I am currently working in Microsoft. I'm the COO for Microsoft for Asia Pacific. And I think in terms of my career, it's been probably a pretty long one, it feels like at this stage. I started off in consulting. So my first career journey was in KPMG Consulting and then with Accenture. And I think that was a great place to start. I think it's a really versatile career choice for anybody starting off, because you get to experience so many different elements across multiple industries, across multiple customers, and it really kind of teaches you some of the core skills that I think have stayed with me through my career, like some of the basics: facilitating large groups, critical thinking, strategy and planning. All of those elements you really do practice a lot of in consulting. So that was probably the first 10 years or so of my career, really focused in on business strategy consulting, change management, and a lot of actually ERP and technology consulting as well. And then I took a small break and went to work in Mexico with a not-for-profit to set up a business model for women working in rural areas to really try and help empower women who may be in underprivileged societies, to help them to be able to set up their own businesses, which was a fantastic opportunity at the time. And after that, I came back and joined Microsoft. And I think, Microsoft has been a fantastic journey. I've been there now nearly 16, 17 years. Started off in Ireland, where I'm from. I'm from Dublin, working in the operations side of the business, and have had multiple different roles throughout the organization, global roles, regional roles, moved in and out of sales and marketing and back again to ops. And then more recently, in the last few years, I came to Asia to run operations for Asia. And then I moved over a couple of years ago into this COO role, which is really more focused on sales and marketing and running the sales operations engine for the business, but also all of our product strategy, go-to-market, communications, and various other elements. We've probably got to recognize as well that the world is going through a incredibly unprecedented time right now, given the pandemic and the industries that are in flux. But I do think some of the trends that are really evident now actually are coming from what we've all been experiencing in the last year or so. I think this trend around being more agile, thinking about digital transformation, really looking at every element of your business model and which elements can be digitized, is something that more and more companies are looking at. And it's not just for the elements around business continuity and managing risk and being able to work a lot more in a virtual world. It's also for productivity and agility and actually innovation. So I think more and more organizations really need to look left to right across their supply chain and their business model and see what can be digitized. I feel strongly about this concept. We call it a digital feedback loop. But if we think about the level of technical intensity going into every single organization right now, and we think about the fact that data is at the core of everything we do, whether that's data from the products that we launch and everything in terms of usage and how those products are being serviced, etc., whether it's data from our people, how are they feeling at any point in time, what are the things that we need to be thinking about to support and have a lot of empathy for what our people are going through right now. If we think about our operations and our supply chains, as I mentioned, whether that's in manufacturing, whether that's in distribution, there's data coming from all of these different angles, and of course from our customers themselves. And I think this concept of a digital feedback loop is becoming more and more important. So how do we take all of that data that's coming from all of these different sources and make sense of it and understand what is it telling us and what can it allow us to do differently or better? I think that is absolutely something that every company needs to be thinking about as well as we think about trends. And then, of course, that's more on the digital side. I think we all recognize that just from a working environment, things are changing. We know that people are going to be working a lot more virtually, whether that's from home or from different locations. And so that brings with it other trends, which are around our modern workplace. We know that 45% of people are using social tools at work. That's become the norm. There is 4 times as many devices per user as there used to be. When we think about diversity, we've got 5 generations together in the workforce right now. The amount of millennials that we will have in play by 2025 is off the charts. And so what is it that millennials are looking for, and how is our workforce going to change? And 72% of workers are working remotely in the last year. So I think all of these things bring a big change in the trends that we're going to see in our workforce around collaboration, engagement, how we work together, how we generate ideas, how we share, and still have that element of relational proximity where we might be working virtually. Oh, so many to choose from right now, I think. But look, if I go back to kind of maybe some broader foundational skills that I think are important regardless of what industry or role you're in an organization, because of course you can build up your technical skills, you can build up your subject matter expertise, whether that's in law, in sustainability, in marketing, whatever it may be. And that's all really important. But I think, honestly, a lot of success comes from how you work with people. It comes from how you manage to navigate organizations, build relationships, and figure out a way to get people coming with you to get things done. And so those skills, I think, are really focused around things like facilitation. So can you facilitate large groups of people to organize them and figure out who does what and how to get things done? I think critical thinking. When you look at data, do you have an ability to actually see what the insights are? Not just the data, but what are the trends? What is it telling us? And more importantly, what do we want to do with that data? How are we going to go and action it? So I think they're skills that are important. I think the ability to be able to orchestrate end to end and really look left to right across multiple different functions and how we bring people together is also really critical. As I said, how you relate to people, how you help to listen and understand where they are in their journey and connect people together. So they'd be some key things. And you know, when I have a niece who's in university at the moment. She's in St. Andrews in the UK, and I see her getting involved in, you know, heading up, whether it's diversity and inclusion, focus groups, our committees, talking to other leaders and understanding where they are, even things like what we're doing now. It's actually practicing those skills and getting involved early, even when you're in university, is really something I would recommend. Look, a few things I suppose top of mind. You know, I'm a firm believer in do a really good job in whatever it is that you're in at the moment. I think sometimes we can get very, it's important to plan ahead and think ahead, but it's also really important to just do a great job at whatever you're doing here and now. So I think making sure that you focus in and do the best that you can in whatever role you're in is important. I think there's a big focus around building your network and asking for help. I don't know if we always do that enough. So I think, I've never seen anybody say no to people who are asking for a bit of help, who are coming up maybe behind us earlier in their career. And so I think just making sure that you do reach out and you build that network and you use it in the right way. We have such amazing tools now with LinkedIn, with various other groups that can be joined, whether that's industry bodies, chambers of commerce. You know, there's so many networking opportunities, and even globally now, given everything is so virtual. So really leverage that and think about what's going to help you in your career. I often have people pinging me on LinkedIn, and I try my best to connect the dots between people where it makes sense. Really thinking about what you're passionate about. I think that's probably number 3. I think, you know, we tend to kind of maybe start in a career wherever the opportunity opens up, and then we find ourselves maybe on a little bit of a hamster wheel, and before you know it, you're, you know, 40 or 45 and you've been working for 20 years and you actually haven't stopped to think, is this what I really want to be doing? So I always encourage people to think a bit about what really gives them energy. When you've had a good day at work or whatever you're doing, what are the things that you've been doing? Have you been maybe interacting with customers? Have you maybe been in a lab, if that's where you get your energy from, if you're in the science field? Have you been maybe doing research because maybe you just really like having that time that's totally asynchronous and you're able to actually do your own work and then come back and present? So I think we all need to understand what is it that really gives us energy. For me, I'm very passionate about coaching and helping others to think about solving problems and thinking about how they can move forward in things. And so, find what you're passionate about and then try your best to link your day job to what you're passionate about, if at all possible. That's the ultimate goal, I guess, and make some money at the same time, if possible.